Okay, we're going to look at the cylinder jug on this little Honda 250. Got a light. There we go. Look at all the ports. Okay, how complicated is this thing? Alright, let's break them down one at a time. First of all, start at the top. There would be an actual cylinder head bolted on here. Okay, 6 bolts. If you look closely as well, you can see that this engine has a cylinder liner. Notice the darker color around here. So the bulk of the mass here, this is going to be cast aluminum. Aluminum is, well, it's a couple of things. It's light, and but it's very dynamic, so it moves, it expands rapidly, shrinks rapidly. It's also soft, which means it wears more quickly. And so by installing a liner made out of steel, then you give the engine the durability of steel, but with the weight of aluminum. So you have a lightweight motor with a very durable cylinder. This is very common in power sports equipment, automotive, etc. Not common in lawnmowers until you start paying more money for your lawnmower. Okay, because it's obviously going to cost money to do it this way. Okay, let's set this guy back down. I'm going to flip it over the other way for a moment. Okay, so on the bottom, this portion of the cylinder would actually fit down into the crankcase. The lower portion of the two-stroke engine has the crankshaft and the crankcase, and these for indexing, there's sleeves that go with the bolts. So this would actually sit down into the bottom section, but this is your cylinder here. Okay, this is extended up like a web for the purposes of installing the piston. I'll try and do that in another video. This is exhaust. Alright, your exhaust pipe would be bolted on here with 2 bolts right there. So if we follow that through to the inside, if I stick my finger right through there and then flip this over, can I get that angle? There we go. Okay, so you can see where my finger comes through. You've got that long, wide, oval opening right in there. That is your exhaust port. Just that one. Okay. Alright, now let's flip it over again, spin it around. And this is where your reed block and your carburetor would bolt on right here. And again, if you look inside, you got some ports there. Let me stick my fingers in there. And there we are. Okay, and so those are the ports that come from the intake into the crankcase. If you look down below, there is a third one. Okay, so there's kind of a staged event here to the intake, which is kind of interesting. And if we go back to the design of the piston, these 2 openings here, they work in conjunction with that actual intake porting. Okay, if you put this piston in the wrong way around, then you will be blocking off those ports, and this motor will never run. Okay, so I actually don't know if there's a marking. Yes, there is. Hopefully you can see by my thumb right there. There's an arrow. Okay. Now, what does the arrow point at? I don't know. You'd have to look at a manual and find out which way. But if you understand the way this motor works, then these 2 holes here have to be aligned the same way as those 2 ports inside there. Otherwise, the engine won't work. Okay. Alright, and then again, looking from the bottom here. Set this light down for a second. Do we need that much light? Maybe not. Okay, these 4 runners here, these are your intake runners. Okay, again, picture that your motor is sitting this way, crankcase is down below, and your piston's moving up and down, and these 4 runners here provide the opportunity for the air-fuel mixture. The compressed mixture that's in the crankcase will move up through that side and through this side and flow up on either side of the cylinder like this, and then into the actual cylinder. So again, if we look back inside the cylinder, you should be able to see over here 1, 2, there's 2 runners there, and then there's 2 more there. Okay, so in total there's 4 passages that go from the crankcase to the cylinder. We have the exhaust port here, and then we have the intake ports up there. So perhaps when you first saw me spin this thing around and I made the point, look at all the holes, your head might have spun a little bit. Well, fair enough. Yeah, there are a lot of openings in there, but when you break it all down, that's what they all do. Okay, you've got an exhaust exit from the cylinder. You have intake. There's actually 3 openings going into the crankcase. Okay, it looks like it's going into the cylinder, but remember that your piston's in there blocking that path. Okay, and then you've got the 4 runners there leading up to the sides of the cylinder. Let's put the piston in.